Deer de betinking op 4 mei. Het maakt altijd indruk op me. De Holocaust. De slachtoffers onder de bevolking. En al die jonge mannen die het haar leven in de street verlennen. Het voelt goed erbij stil te staan. Maar de onwijzigers van militairen en veteranen bij de betinkings, daar hield was altijd moeite mee. Maar het jaar dat de Canadese veteranen naar Friesland kwamen voor de betinking van 20 jaar bevrijding, zou mijn beleving vergoed verhoren. Het begint direct al bij de aankomst van de mannen op Schiphol. De veteranen en haar familie hebben een lange vlucht efter de reg. Maar ik al binnen ze alle jaar 90 jaar en ouder. Ze hebben haar een zegje kleer.
Hello, I'm Marion.
How are you doing?
Well, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good for an old guy.
Yes, you look very strong still.
Well, I'll be 94 in September, and I have a good wife. We were in 45 up around Lee Warden, and then we had our guns along the coast, and then we went from Friesland to Wagenborgen, and then we captured the harbor of Dalzijl. And the war was pretty well over on the 2nd of May at Dalzijl. We came back to Winschoten, and we still, even when the 5th of May came, we still figured we were still fighting because the 8th of May didn't come till 3 more days. So we didn't really do much celebrating on the 5th because we still thought we have to fight. I've got a website, www.gordybannerman.com. There's 204 stories, all from memory. They're all true.
My name is Robert Utterman, but they usually call me Bob. And they call me, when I was in the service, they call me the kid, because I happen to be the youngest guy in the unit that we were in. But I came from a small town in Canada, Fisherville. 375 at the most. But it was a small town, and there were very few guys in the service from the town. But I happened to meet one in England. The first day I was in England from Canada, there's a guy that I went to school with, and I thought, well, it makes me feel like I'm at home. I get away that feeling of being separated and alone.
Right, turn. About. Turn. To the right. Dress. Order. Arms. Stand up. Heights.
Again.
Na de bevrijding van Ljouwert bleven de Canadezen ik nog eens koft in de stad. Ze sloegen daar hun kamp op.
5 years ago.
Oh,
5 years ago.
yeah, you were my brother.
Yeah. Look, you can get them.
I was here 5 years ago in the parade.
Yeah.
You were a good driver.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Are you going to drive me this time?
I hope so.
Okay, that's a deal.
Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah.
It was April the 15th, 1945, and our good fortune, I guess you might say, that our #1 troop, the troop I was in, Charlie Squadron, was told to lead the advance that day, and we were ordered to proceed as quickly as possible into the town of Lee Warden. And we got into the town maybe a couple of blocks or 2 or 3 blocks with hardly sighting anything or any activity at all. And then all of a sudden, the Dutch people started to proceed out of the buildings and houses, and before we knew it, we were almost surrounded with the Dutch people, and the feelings that the Dutch had for all those years were able to be released. And it was kind of expressed in singing and in crying and in laughing and dancing. And of course, we got slapped on the back and our hands shook, and we even got an odd kiss with it.
Why did you volunteer, sir?
I enlisted at 19. Why? I'm Russian.
Ah.
I am Russian. I was born there. I was five years old when I came to Canada. And Hitler, once Hitler said that what he's going to do, one of the things he's going to do, he's going to eliminate half the Russian population and enslave the other half of Russian population. Now, that was the key. That was it. What Hitler said, I said, yes, we'll see about that. What can I do? Well, you do what the best you can.
Hoe sjuggen jou beiden naar de komst van de veteranen en deze man?
Ik vind het geweldig. Als ze dat nog opbrengen kunnen om weer nog een keer heen te rijden en te varen of te vliegen, weet ik het. Ja, geweldig. Als ze dat er nog verhoor hebben. Zo'n reis te maken. Ja. Dat zal van haar ik net volle vreugde mee worden. Ja?
En wij moeten hopen dat ze hier nooit weer wegkomen voor dat doel. Dat het net weer dat de sabelkool laten worden. Dat moet zo blijven worden, vrede is toen tekenen dat iedereen blijft. Dus het is zo'n rare ding, het is samen, weet het net. Hè?
After we finished Harlingen, we went to Oosterberum, and there were no soldiers in Oosterberum. But we were placed in a farmhouse that had a shed built to the farmhouse. I talked to a pastor in Oosterberum, and then I went back. And when my wife and I were visiting, we stopped in Oosterberum and talked to a young girl there, and I tried to find where that house was, but I had my directions wrong.
You remember the forum?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Aha.
I'm sure there's a pathway that leads from here into that house.
Yeah.
And we used to play marbles in this here. That wasn't stone then. It was.
Yeah, well, your house is just.
Martin Boomsma wie 8 jaar doet de Canadezen Oosterberum binnenkwamen. Doet de 14 jaar emigreerde hij maar zijn ouden naar Canada. Hij wie het ek die erachter kwam hokker Canadese soldaten destijds Oosterberum bevrijden.
Now here is the church where Klaas Stalsma was the minister. And we're going to walk to the other end there to see if you recognize anything at all.
Is there a door on the lean-to that off of the
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
That's where I met him. And when I mentioned Mr. Talsma to Martin, he said, yeah, I sat on his knee when I was going to Sunday school.
Ja. In de Tweede Wereldoorlog voelden er onder de zijde van de Canadezen meer dan 45.000 slachtoffers. Volle meer had ik eer tocht hier. En zo jong. Op de Holterberg liggen haast 14.000 graven op het Canadees Militair Kerkhof. Het stuk groen is ooit schonken aan Canada. Dus de veteranen bevinden haar op eigen groengebied. Voor de Canadezen die geregeld in Nederland komen, is het opziekje van haar sneuvele kameraden een verste weerde. Are you looking looking for a special
A chap
name?
named Borland, G7, but they say we need the plot number. Plot 12.
Yeah, and then row G. And
Over there.
and right at the top end.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Not as steady as it once was.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
This way.
Did you find it?
Right here.
I'm amazed his age was 37.
Yes, I noticed that.
My God, he must have been an old man when he
yes.
was,
Yeah.
you know, I wasn't anywhere near 27.
His neighbor's 21.
Yeah. I had no idea.
So was he a friend of yours, O'Connell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, an army friend.
An army friend, okay.
Oh, Lord. Well, God bless you.
Yes.
Most of us trusted in the good Lord, and whatever was to be was going to be. And I was just maybe one of the luckier ones that he kind of looked out more for me instead of somebody else, which kind of makes me feel bad in one way. And I'm thrilled and joyous to be here today, but on the other hand, I'm a little bit sad because some of my other buddies aren't with me to help experience this glorious time that we're having.
21 years old.
It's a separate.
I'll get you up here. I can take pictures.
I kind of put them at the back of my mind, and I don't dwell on them, and I try to forget them as many. I don't want to forget them, but I don't want them to be to the fore. So, and some people can't do it, and I feel sorry for them because they're the ones that have the mental problems.
Well, they wanted to volunteer to drive the Jeep, so he volunteered, and the Jeep hit a mine, and he got killed after the war was over. Him and I slept in the haymow together that night before he died.
Yeah?
Yeah, we stayed in the barn. Gee, I never thought I'd see his grave.
Now this is still fairly well the way it was.
Is that right?
Yeah. And see, that's much more like a shed attached to the house.
That's what I'm thinking of, you know.
Right? See, that ditch was there and is still there. And then there was a path went through here, and see, that path came up beside the church up there.
It's hard to recognize.
Of course.
70 years ago,
Of course.
maybe I wasn't looking for the shape of a building. Maybe I was looking for a place to get to hide.
You had other things on your mind, Mr. Otterman.
But I do remember is that we shot shingles off of the roof.
Yeah.
Somebody was working with a piece of equipment,
Yeah.
and automatically, for some reason, pulled the trigger, and he had it standing up, which was a safety position to have a machine standing when you're working on one.
Yeah.
If you have it laying down, you pull the trigger, you shoot your buddies. You have it standing up, it goes up in the air.
Tijdens een hevig artilleriebombardement in de vroege avond van maandag 16 april door het 14e Field Regiment Royal Canadian Artillery is de Royal Canadian Highland Light Infantry Harlingen binnengetrokken.
De reenactment van de bevrijdingstoer werd groots aangepakt. Meer heb ik de passie voor het behoud van oud-oorlogstuig begrepen. Maar Joert, als de veteranen plak nemen in de oude jeeps, valt alles te plak.
We went from Herrenberg to many places and finally got to Harlingen, and there we took 450 German prisoners out of Harlingen. They were escaping from the southern part, from Amsterdam area, across the causeway, and they were held up in Harlingen, and they were having a party.
Het is vrijdag 13 april 1945. Vlak na het middaguur begint een lange rij Duitse militairen voorbij te gaan, die vanuit de richting Seksbierum naar Harlingen trekken. Kennelijk zijn het zich terugtrekkende troepen. Niet alleen paarden met veulens, maar ook diverse koeien worden meegevoerd, zulks tot uiteraard grote woede van de bevolking die dit alles gadeslaat.
And we got into the school where they were after the party was over, after they had taken them out. And they had schnapps there, and big container of schnapps and sandwiches, lunch. So we helped ourselves. But at the same time, that was the difference between a house in Harlingen where the people said, oh, the Tommies are here. We said, no, the Canadians. And they said, do you want some cheese? And they were ready to give us what they had. And they had nothing. But here in the schoolroom, the Germans had all the things they wanted to eat. And I think they took from the Dutch people. They took from the Dutch people what the Dutch people didn't have to give. They took everything. And that was the winter of 44 and 45. It was terrible. Children were dying on the streets, nothing to eat. And that's the thing that the Dutch people remember too. And if us people, that Canadians, us soldiers, were able to give them that freedom, now they're celebrating, still thanking us years after. To see all these people is just great. They just overwhelm me. Thank you, people.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
She had a brother.
Yeah.
He worked on the farm.
Right.
Jouw kamer daar in hier boven de lunchkamer binnen. Ja. Wat weer het verhaal?
Nou, ze riepen mij, er is een Canadees en die zoekt een vogelaar. En dat ben ik.
En er schiet direct een vogel op je jas.
Harlingen.
We had quite a hard time getting up to Harlingen here, and she took us in and treated us like children, and it was like a mother, and then we appreciate that.
That's what she did for me too, being a mother.
Yes.
Right. Tijdens de bevrijding hebben ze daar gebivakkeerd in de Hoogstraat, in de hoedjewinkel noemen wij het hier in Harlingen, de hoedjewinkel. En daarboven hadden ze een paar kamers gekregen en dat was mijn tante en zeg maar het woonhuis van mijn vader. They lived there for ages. They both never got married.
No?
No, they never did. My dad did, so that's why I'm here.
Of course.
But it's very nice. But I don't know any stories about the war, of course, because I'm too young.
No, I can understand that. But it's wonderful to meet somebody that is related to that grand lady.
Right. Right. Thank you for being here.
She was a grand lady.
Yes. Yes, absolutely true.
It was such a wonderful thing to all of a sudden there's somebody cares a little bit. Before this war, nobody cares. And this, all of a sudden, we felt like somebody, so I have a good spot. I wanted to come here and put some angels to rest, and I have, and it's wonderful. I met some angels, too.
Can you take me back to D-Day for a moment? How was that?
Very exciting. I remember at 6 o'clock in the morning, I looked out and saw more ships than I ever thought existed.
But wasn't it very, very frightening as well?
Well, our mind was so involved, and I looked in the seawall and I saw dead bodies there, and I saw wounded bodies, and I saw German prisoners, and guns were firing, our guns were firing away. We were very actively engaged, too busy to get scared, but excited to see. And I remember turning, I was in a tank in a landing craft. We hit a mine and sank in about 6 feet of water. And I remember turning to the chap next to me and saying, "You know, a fellow could get killed around here." But you know, it was always the other fellow that was going to get killed, never you. And we were too busy to be afraid. When we had a little moment, a day or two later, we had a little time to be afraid, but we were all very excited at that point. You bring back fond memories, but this is one of the sad moments. But we had many a happy moment here in Holland. Many happy. Especially with the Lieferts.
The Lieferts?
Liefert, isn't that the beautiful young girl?
Yes, you had a good time.
We had our happy moments.
Yes.
I made a promise when I left home. When I left my girlfriend, I told her the night I left, I said, "I'm going overseas with the war, but I'll be back. And if I come back, will you still be interested in me when I come back?" And she said yes. So I remembered that, and that memory stayed with me, that I keep myself pure while I'm away, because I'm going back to a girlfriend I know, and I'll be happy to be with her. So I married her. We're still married. She wasn't well enough to come with me, so I brought my daughter with me.
Vijf maaien is een feestelijke dag. Bij mij dringt het besef goed terug dat dit de man binnen waaraan wij ons vrijheid te danken hebben. De vreugde komt van twee kanten. En het is mooi om te zien hoe de man, de sterkste onder de bevrijders, ervan geniet.
hard price to pay. But and you hope that the world can be remember that and work things out, but it's not that way, unfortunately. Is it?
We were able to get married and have you.
Yeah, that's right. I'm happy his life was saved. Yeah.
Mr. White, would you volunteer again?
Yes, I would. If the circumstances were such that I thought that we could do any good, yes, I would.
Thinking of what I went through, I say I would.
I'm very thankful I went through it. I wouldn't wish anybody else to ever go through that again. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be fulfilled.
Do you think war will ever end?
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Things have been going on like this forever that I know of in recorded history, and I don't know how we're ever going to really stop it.
Why can't we come to some agreement? But it's not possible. No two people have the same thinking.
Is there still anything we could learn from World War II?
We can. Can we convey our message to some other people? I don't think so.
Jongen, lietse jongen, roep mij waarom?